Hi, I'm Amy Schmidt.
And I'm Kristen Coffield.
And welcome to Better Than Gossip, Ageless Advice for Timeless Women. And today's episode, we have back two incredible guests, Roger and Chris, who you know personally, and I have gotten to know. And I got to tell you, this episode is jam-packed with nuggets.
You know, that's kind of an ongoing joke we have about me personally knowing these people.
Yeah. Relationships? Yeah, we talk about that a lot. We talk about that a lot. I love that Roger and Chris are experts in an area that I think, I'll raise my hand loud and proud for this one, needs some help with.
And everybody's going to have to deal with this at one point or another, whether it's downsizing themselves, dealing with a parent's house, dealing with a hoarder situation. So this is really going to be fun today because they are going to be sharing how you can read your estate like a pro.
Oh, so that means like those American Girl dolls that we had to have for my daughter. Sorry, honey. All 16,000 of them, and the horses, and this. And we want to get rid of it, but how do we do that? How do we really look at that? Is it valuable? Is it not? Oh, man.
I don't think you better get rid of those American Girl dolls.
I know.
I think your daughter's going to want, your granddaughter might want those.
I have the whole box set of Laura Ingalls Wilder.
And I have every Nancy Drew book.
I do too. Oh, I might one up you on this one. I have the Cher Barbie doll.
What?
Yeah, she's in a green.
Oh my God.
Like zip ups. I still have it. I also have. Do you remember Barbie's?
Roger's cringing somewhere because when we did a downsize, when we moved out of the house that we raised our kids in, that we had been in for 22 years, there's nothing I regret selling except Roger was like, oh my God, we can get like $300 for these Barbies. And I was like, eh. So we sold my Barbies. And my great-grandmother made a mink coat for one of my Barbies with little like satin lining and little French ribbon on it. Yeah, that's the only thing I ever regret selling.
What about Holly Hobby? I know I still have a cutout set. Remember the like Holly Hobby doll, and then we're really aging ourselves. But anyway, you would take the little, they were like stickers almost, but you could dress her differently.
Well, you're a little younger than I am because we had trolls.
Oh, yeah, trolls. Okay. Oh, I'm just going to love this
Trolls
episode.
And little kittles, and their hair smelled like different flowers. Those neurotoxins could not be good for you.
Easy bake ovens. Do you have 1, 2, 10? That's what we're talking about. How to downsize and look at your estate like an expert. So stay tuned.
Did you know about that?
What? I didn't hear. You know, that thing I've been telling you about. It's been a game changer for me. Okay, well, this episode, just wait for it. I'm surrounded by two amazing guys, kind of sandwiched in between here, and I am really enjoying this. And I've got some fun little things here, and, okay, please tell me, Beatrix Potter. Beatrix Potter.
It is, it is, it is.
Is this valuable?
We'll tell you how what it's worth in a few minutes.
Who can relate to this? I can remember 1977, in my sister's wedding, and she gave me a little Beatrix Potter little statue. I still have it. Oh, okay. So we're talking all about estates and how to kind of downsize your estate like an expert. So where do we start? Because it is completely overwhelming.
Yeah, you're right, Amy. It can be. Those first days when you're sort of handed an estate to deal with, or you've decided to downsize on your own, you can feel overwhelmed. I mean, it's a lot. It's everything in your house, things you've purchased, you've lived with for years. The important thing to remember is there is a plan. Everyone goes through this at some point in their life, so please don't panic. There is a way out.
Point.
And we're going to tell you how to read your estate like an expert, almost like a stranger walking through your house trying to find value where it is. All right? So,
But
Chris,
we all think we have value. Right? I mean, we all think
you do.
that
I mean,
everything...
you're right. Everyone has value, but you'd be surprised where it pops up. You really would. You really would. Not in the things you would think oftentimes.
Right. That's probably true. You know, I talked earlier about the fact that, you know, I lost both my parents in a short period of time, within about 18 months of each other. I was living abroad. I have another brother who lives out of the area, and then 3 of my siblings are in Wisconsin. It was very difficult. We all get along, we all get along.
That's a blessing.
But when this happened, my parents had not prepared their things in a way they maybe should have. And I got to tell you, and I don't know if anybody can relate to this, but, I actually have a dear friend whose mom, is still living. But every time the kids get together, they are to put a piece of masking tape and label it if they want that item. Okay, see, now we did not do that. Now I was thinking maybe that's a more organized way of doing your estate, but how we did it was really hard because there were so many memories, but such different memories for each one. I mean, I have a sister who's 18 years older than me. I have, we all experience different things.
That's right.
But we ended up getting rid of so many things that I can't tell you how many times at Christmas or at Thanksgiving or whenever, somebody will call the siblings and say, don't you wish we had that? Goosebump moment for me.
It's true.
And it happens,
It's true.
right? So what should we start doing to kind of start preparing, even at our ages, to get ready and downsize and get rid of some things of value and, that type of thing?
All right. Well, Chris, you start.
Which part do I start?
Let's start with jewelry.
It's a lot.
Let's start with jewelry.
Jewelry.
Okay. So jewelry.
I love that.
Every woman has jewelry, and this is another thing we'll talk about. Women need to write down what jewelry they have for their husbands because most husbands have no idea what their wives have.
Wait, say that again.
Most husbands have no idea what jewelry their wives have.
Clothes.
That's where you have your.
Wow.
You get a ring for, when a child's christening. You get a ring when you get married. You get a ring. Maybe you inherited your grandmother's ring. Does your husband know what they are? Does your husband know where they are?
No idea.
Does he know how to get them? And is he going to give them to the kids or is he going to sell them? And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But right now, well, you have jewelry. You have nice jewelry.
I do.
You probably have some costume jewelry.
I do.
Okay.
Let's see it.
No.
I do. I do. Exactly. I do. But Tim would have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Either would my children.
No, they would not.
Well, another secret is every single thing you own pretty much is trying to tell you what it is. It has these little clues that are sort of calling out. No, really, they really
kind of
do.
calling me out.
Everything calls this simple little brooch. This is a very common looking thing that you see in a lot of little costume jewelry boxes. But you just flip it over. All you have to do is flip it over, and it's very tiny, Amy. It's right there. You gotta get a loop, magnifying glass.
Trafari.
Start looking at your pieces.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
So now don't.
But no, on the front of it, it looks like diamonds. It looks like it could be diamonds.
Yes.
Okay. It doesn't, to us, it doesn't look like, I mean, it does and it doesn't.
It does
But
and
you
doesn't.
always have to turn it over. Like Roger said, everything is calling out its name. It's stamped on the back, Trafari. Trafari is one of those not great. They have a more value in the costume jewelry world than most other costume jewelry.
And there are varieties of Trafari. There's something called crown Trafari, which has a little crown over the T. That denotes an earlier make and more valuable.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Trafari. Yeah, I mean, I've heard of that for costume jewelry. Very interesting.
We have right here a pin.
Yeah.
It's like a lozenge pin, we call them.
Okay.
It's a religious pin. On the back of it, very small print. It says 10K at the top. 10K means it's 10 carat or what is 10 carat? A third. Well, that's 8 carat. It's
Potato.
Yeah.
It's
gold.
about 40% gold. 40% pure gold.
Oh my gosh.
This piece looks like gold.
Yeah.
Feels like gold.
Wait, let me feel.
It's thin.
Oh yeah.
You wouldn't find costume jewelry that thin or
Right.
gold plated anything.
Does it bend?
No.
Okay, that's a good clue.
Really?
If it doesn't bend, it's probably made of a higher, harder metal content. Things that are gold will bend.
Like an alloy, which is what they put the gold plate over.
Yeah.
Right.
To make
Right.
it, that's why it also
Exactly.
has weight.
And where would people find these in their, if they're going through they're in the bottom of
Everywhere.
drawers.
Everywhere.
They could be in the pocket of a coat. They could be in
On
the
a lapel.
bottom of a purse.
Yeah.
that you have no idea where they are in it. If it's your
Yeah.
any house these days, you
Yeah.
don't know where things are.
The fur your mother wore every Christmas morning maybe still has her favorite brooch on it.
Or
Oh,
since the clasp is broken, it could be in the junk
happened.
drawer.
That was a true story. My mom's fur coat had a brooch on it.
That she never took off because
And she never
it was too
took
hard to get off.
Yes, exactly.
Because
She was
it's
afraid
really
she was
on
gonna
there.
Rip the fur. That's
Yeah.
that's why they didn't take it off. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
You know, it's so interesting about jewelry because I think we can find it everywhere, but it's hard to actually find the value. So when we come back after a short break, we're going to talk about eBay, which I think I still have an account if I can remember my password. But stay tuned. We'll be right back.
So we have beans from all over the world. All of our coffee is 100% Arabica. It's hand-picked, highest grade, highest altitude. So Arabica has less caffeine. It has way more flavor though. Each coffee is different. They all have different moisture content. They all roast up a little bit differently, which is why doing it by eye to me is so important. I believe coffee brings people together. Everybody drinks coffee, right? It doesn't matter where you're from, how much money you make, where you live, any of that. Like, people drink coffee. So I want to be a place that connects people.
Welcome back to Better Than Gossip. I'm here with Roger and Chris from Hunt and Pack, and we are talking jewelry right now. You know, before we talk about eBay, because that's really important, where are you going to find jewelry? Like when you're going through your estate, are there some key places you want to look?
The first place you want to look for jewelry is in mom's bedroom. The dresser drawer, the nightstand. Maybe she had a jewelry box. Maybe there's a box hidden in the closet. But it's always going to be in the master bedroom. Well, we'll talk about silver in a minute, but you're not going to find any jewelry in the garage. You might find some jewelry on the coats in the form of pins,
like we said about
or even
the
in
coat.
pockets. You want to look in all the purses.
Right.
You'll find cash in
right.
purses, and you'll find little pieces of jewelry where your mom pulled her earrings off before she went, into
Yes.
the store or to school one day to pick you up.
Great place to start.
That's right.
Great place to start. And now we're going to talk about eBay, which I think is really interesting because we talked about, I just picked up this brooch and it's Trifari. So if we were to go to eBay, once we remember our password, right? We got to remember our passwords.
Yeah.
What are we going to do when we get there?
Well, you start very simply. Trifari brooch. Just to
Okay.
get just
Just
get a
in the
sense.
main search bar.
Very simple.
Boom.
And then instantly you're going to see lots of very similar things, and you can hone in pretty quickly. All right. But when you're trying to understand value, Amy, eBay is very interesting because there's really two worlds there. There's what's for sale and what's sold. You're more interested in what's sold, and you can only find it if you actually search sold items.
Really?
And then you'll know it's sold because it'll have a green price tag next to it.
Ah.
That will show you what the object actually sold for. Not the black number. The black number is like, we call it pie in the sky. It's like someone thinks, I'm going to put this up,
Oh, yeah.
$500,
Yep.
someone's going to buy it. No, probably not, right? You got to click sold and see what it comes up in green. That'll help you get closer to the value of that brooch.
So we can definitely Google it down,
Yeah,
find it.
it's
Okay,
very simple.
fantastic. Now let's talk about silver. How many of you out there watching have silver? That might
Yeah.
be dirty, you haven't
Yeah.
cleaned it, whatever you have to do, but everybody has silver.
Yeah, well, no, they don't.
They don't.
No, they don't. They have things that look like silver and are shiny like silver.
Fake silver.
Here's a funny story. Okay, so back post-war, World War II, when the American government and the armed forces were strong around the world, and they were beautiful housewives with their beautiful soldiers in beautiful bases around the world, right? Those women and the women in their same generation learned how to entertain, right? They all had to have a chafing
true.
dish. They all had to have a meat platter. They all had to have all these beautiful condiment jars and all this stuff, right? But it's not all silver. It's mostly silver plate. And silver plate is a thin micro layer of silver applied on top of brass or copper or some lesser metal, right?
Based on standards that the world has applied, every single piece of silver will have a name on the back of it. Either its stamp of what it is or a maker's mark.
Okay.
Yes. So if you think you have silver in your home, all right, all you have to do is look at the back. Take your set of silverware, flip over the fork, the dinner fork, because it's always the largest in terms of print, flip it over, and if it doesn't say sterling, the actual word sterling, on that fork, it is not American silver. All right? So it's not. Don't think it is, it just isn't. Because by
going to
law,
their drawers right now.
Yep.
Everybody is.
By
yeah.
law, it had to say sterling if it was 92.5% solid silver.
Really?
All right? Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's a cool fact.
Yeah.
And in Europe, they have 3 symbols: one for the year, one for the city, and one for the maker
The monarch. Yeah. During
who
the rule.
made
Yeah.
the silver. It won't say 925, but you know, in England, I know anything that has a lion passant, it's a little lion symbol. That's sterling silver.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's European silver, but it's still the same
Yes.
standard 92.5% silver.
Yeah, so if you've got European relatives,
Yeah. Yeah.
European
Or you
makers were
lived in
required.
Europe.
Yes,
Right,
yes.
yeah.
European makers were required to put different numbers and markings on their silver, usually with the help of a number,
Yeah.
like 835, 800, 900, 935, 950, 925. All of those numbers refer to the silver content of that object.
Well, and in a recent estate, we found old silver. It didn't have any of those marks, but there was one mark that took us an hour to find what it was.
Yes,
It was
yes.
Austrian silver.
Yes.
It
Yes.
wasn't even 80% silver, but it was
Yeah.
It
very
was something.
valuable.
It was
a
something.
very-
It was
It
something.
was something.
But
Yeah,
we knew it was
yeah.
something, and we have to
Yeah.
dig to figure out what it is.
Well,
Yeah.
not funny story, but interesting is I remember as we were going through my parents' estate, there was a brown box filled with flatware, but we didn't keep it.
What'd you do with it?
You don't want to know. I think there's a company called Junk Luggers.
Oh my God, Amy. Oh.
I know.
No one looked at the dinner
I
fork.
know.
No one flipped it over.
No, because we were so mentally and physically exhausted and we didn't hire a service
Yeah.
like you
Yep.
who brings that into
Yeah.
I don't know, we were overwhelmed.
That's why you need to watch this show.
It's true.
It is.
It's true.
It is.
Well, let's talk about furniture because I think that would be a little easier.
No. No, it's not. It's not.
It's not.
It's not. It's not easier. But like we said earlier, everything is trying to tell you what it is. All right? It really is.
Walk me through that. Explain that to me.
Okay, so there are really 2 big categories of furniture in America.
Yes.
There is antique, meaning it was made by hand by someone a long, long time ago.
Right.
And then there's the stuff that sort of falls in the category of brown furniture, right? Everything made after the Industrial Revolution began.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so big names and big furniture companies were making lots of furniture. Okay, now the companies typically would stamp their furniture with the maker's name, with a little brass or bronze tacked inside the upper left drawer, inside a cabinet, and sometimes even on the back.
Yeah.
So furniture, if it's good by a good maker like Baker, Henderson, Kittinger, Henkel Harris, the old names.
Yes.
They will label their furniture because that stuff was expensive. So when your
Yes.
parents were married,
Yes.
your parents' generation bought furniture and they kept it.
Oh, they kept it.
They kept it. They bought the
They
best that they could
kept it.
afford,
Yes.
and then they held on to it. So those pieces are typically marked somewhere on the piece. And again, you can use sites like eBay and live auctioneers. Just enter the name in and just see what stuff is generally selling for. Right? You can find out what's good, what's bad, etc.
Google.
Very
You just
quickly.
go to the search bar. You go to eBay, then
Yeah.
you go to the search bar and sold. The
Yes,
green.
exactly.
The green. We
Well, you
learned that
can
a
even
little.
use Google as,
Yeah.
a, as
Yeah.
a reference
But the
point,
flip
too.
side,
Because
let's
of all
talk-
the other retail sites that sell the same type of things.
Oh,
But let's talk
There you
about
go.
pre-war.
okay.
Okay? Let's talk about pre-war. The handmade stuff, where you can really find some really
Oh.
valuable pieces. Those pieces are calling out with lots of clues as to their value.
That's like Nancy Drew. Okay,
Yeah.
this is fun. I could so get into this. So explain that more.
All right. First thing you do, walk up to a piece of furniture, pull out the drawer.
Yep.
Take the whole drawer out. Look at the drawer. Look how the drawer is made. Do you see cut marks? Do you see how the drawer is made on the side? Is it glued? Is it nailed? Is the bottom board sort of cut at the edges to fit into other boards? That
Yes,
means
I've seen that.
Exactly. That means that before there was enough technology to make a piece of wood that thin, they had to chamfer those boards
Yes.
to get them skinny on the edges so they can fit into other boards. That's a clue,
Right, right.
That means you've got an antique on your hands. It could have more value.
Exactly.
There's lots of little clues, and there are so many wonderful shows on YouTube, really everywhere, Instagram,
Yeah.
Facebook, on how to walk around your house and look at stuff. So please take a few moments to do that because everything wants to tell you what it is.
great advice. And when we come back after the break, we're going to talk about China and art. Another two big topics. Stay tuned.
I wear a size 4.5 medium because I'm a pediatric optometrist. There's nothing like walking into the exam room and having the same shoe as a child. Walking Cradles has been a blessing in finding a pair of shoes that is professional, cute, and comfortable to wear throughout my workday.
Welcome back to Better Than Gossip. I'm here with Chris and Roger today from Hunt and Pack, and we are having fun. We've already gone through, we've gone through jewelry. We haven't gotten back to that Cher Barbie doll. That's for another episode. Keep focused,
She
Amy.
lives on.
I know she lives on. Bionic Woman, I had her too. We've gone through jewelry, we've gone through silver, we've gone through furniture, and now we're talking.
China
Oh, I
Yes,
love this.
China.
I'm a bit of a China hoarder.
or crystal. It's
Yeah.
the same.
Is it?
same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's stuff in
It
your
can
dining
be.
room.
Roger,
Oh,
did you want to take
tell us
this?
more.
Sure, why not? Hand it over. All right, so when you're walking through your house trying to figure out where your value is, go to the dining room. Typically where a family will put their best objects is in that room, because when a guest comes over and you're having a great dinner party, you want to be surrounded by your wealth and you want to make sure all your friends know you've got it, right? So start taking things out of that cabinet and just flipping it over, all right? Almost everything's going to be marked, okay? And like we said earlier, everything is trying to tell you what it is, okay? So these are Beatrix Potter plates. They look, they're quite fun. They're all hand done, and they're clearly marked on the back. So this is a roadmap. Go online, multiple places. Just type this in. Go to eBay, go to Live Auctioneers. You can find this. Same words on a plate. Is it valuable? Is it not? Is it $9? Is it $90? Should I give it away? It's very simple. And the same
but
goes.
remember to keep the search simple.
Yes.
You don't want to go. You don't want to go on eBay and type Royal Dalton the Wedding Series first in a series. People
Yeah.
do that, and that's
Yeah.
wrong.
Right.
You just want to type in Royal Dalton plate maybe, and this will
Okay.
come up. You
Or
don't-
with mice.
Or
Right.
Or if you
A
know
little
it's
bit
Beatrix
more-
Potter.
Yeah.
which
Interesting.
it
So
says-
Blue Willow. Blue
There you
Willow.
go,
My
yeah.
mom had a lot of
Correct.
Blue Willow.
That's
and,
right.
and we did divvy it up between Blue Willow and Spode.
Yep.
How many viewers out there have, or Wedgwood?
Oh,
Yep.
Yes.
Another one.
There's good Wedgwood and there's bad Wedgwood.
Oh boy. Tell
Because
us more.
Wedgwood is a huge company,
Yeah.
and they were making china for all generations. Sadly, a lot of the stuff from the 70s and early 80s got a little dated looking.
Yeah.
With those
Right.
cornflower blue flowers and like that sort of wheat sheath gold trim. That has really fallen out of favor.
Right.
People are now looking at the really old Wedgwood, like that blue jasperware.
Oh yeah.
With those neoclassical figures on it. That's actually coming back now in the market. You'd be surprised.
Really?
Yeah, it really is. In early 2000s,
Interesting.
nobody cared. Now with the grand millennials coming back saying, what happened to all of grandma's,
grand
blue vases in the cabinet?
Yeah.
Well, typically those are old Wedgwood. And that stuff is coming back. But again, everything's marked on the bottom usually. But here's one secret, right? Before about the year 1906, things coming into the U.S. did not necessarily have to be marked with the origin of the country from which it came.
Really?
That's right. It was an import restriction that was placed on all incoming objects around the world, right? So if you just flip over something and it just says Wedgwood, and that's it.
That's it.
Just
Yeah.
Wedgwood. It doesn't say made in England or anything like that. That means it predates that congressional law. Right there, instant clue.
That's
Yeah.
so interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
See, this is the info you need.
And
to
even
know.
if something looks really pretty and it looks very worn and has literally nothing on the back,
Wow.
that's a really old piece because it
Yeah.
could not have come into the country if it weren't marked.
If it weren't marked.
Yeah, so if there's nothing, that's actually a bigger clue,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So again, everything is trying to tell you what it is.
Everything is trying to tell you what it is. So everybody watching right now, look around your house. As you're sitting there, or walk into your dining room and just see. This is fascinating to me.
It is.
Yeah.
It's and you don't have to take it all on in one day. I mean, this could be something
no.
that you do over time.
Yeah.
But we need to start doing it.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about art. Big one.
Oh boy, art.
Saving
Okay.
the biggest one here. Yeah.
Art is a complicated conversation. Art goes back, can be 300 years old in a house, and it can be 20 years old that's in your house.
And both valuable.
Sometimes.
or not.
If mom and dad were famous for buying the local artists' art, good for them, good for the community, that's fine. It doesn't mean that the art is worth anything at all. Sometimes it's worth what the frame is worth.
Right.
The art has no value. The frame is worth more.
Sometimes the frame is worth more.
That's right.
It's true. That's true.
When you look at your art, you need to look at the medium of art that you have. Is it an oil painting? Is it a lithograph? Is it an aqua tint? Is it
What's an aquatint?
No, it's
It's a printing process.
It's a printing. It's like a Xerox.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
An
can
old
picture that.
time
Yeah.
Yep.
Xerox. And usually, hopefully, the art is signed by an artist. That makes it, again, it's
So there
telling you what
really
it
is
is.
value.
Cross your fingers on that one.
That's signed.
Yeah.
There's value in that because we all hear about it.
Yeah,
It should
yeah.
be a signed piece. But what about the ones at TJ Maxx that are signed? Come on. let's bring
Those
it
are
down.
usually poster or
Yeah, exactly.
fancy Xerox.
Yeah,
Prints.
exactly.
So.
Exactly. Yeah, so look at the signature. A lot of them are going to be very difficult to read.
Yes.
All right? So you can do reverse image lookups on Google. Very easy to do. We've done that before.
What is that?
Yeah, no, you take a picture. It's fascinating. You take a picture of an object, you do a reverse Google image search, and the magic of Google will bring back very similar things and can actually, really unlock the key of what you're dealing with.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
But
That helps.
Didn't know that.
But if you're stuck with a
That helps.
signature and you think, and your mother always told you it was valuable, there are services where you can pay a very nominal fee to send in your signature, and they will tell you what it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
question. When we were going through my parents' things, there were many framed pictures of people. Were they
Portraits.
portraits?
Yeah.
Were they family members? Were they I mean, we didn't know. Well, what did
Yeah.
we do? Once again, you don't cover your ears,
Ugh.
junk luggers.
Here
I
it
know,
comes.
or whatever it was. But we didn't know the people. What do you do with those?
Well,
Maybe I'm the only
Well,
one
you
that
look.
has
You look
that.
on eBay.
no. Let's give her a better clue than that. Flip these paintings over just like a plate.
Because the frames
Well, were they
gorgeous.
signed? Did you notice if they were signed?
No.
They weren't signed.
No.
Right.
They weren't.
You need to flip that painting over, and you need to look how the picture is mounted in that frame. You need to look how dirty that picture is, how dirty the stretcher is. You need to look at how the corners of the stretcher were made. Are they joined with little rabbet pieces of wood shoved in there to keep them together?
Yes.
It's all clues. It's all clues.
That rings a bell.
And the older these pieces are, the older the construction techniques are, right? And even if, it doesn't mean it's valuable,
Right.
but it's a clue to the period it was made, who in the family may have bought it. Maybe your great uncle.
Yeah.
Maybe that was part of his estate that mother totally forgot about.
Right.
But again,
Right.
everything is a clue to you.
Would art also be, here we go again. See, this is my personal story. We had a trunk full of photos. The
Oh, I love
old
photos.
Photos.
That's one of my favorite things. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Photos and slides. Now here's
Slides.
another little
Yeah.
a little bit of a jewel for you. Kodachrome red border slides.
Yes.
This sounds very boring to a lot of people. You open up a box of slides in the basement because Dad took his camera everywhere. Grandma took their camera everywhere.
Yeah.
You
true.
open up the box, and all these slides of people standing in front of rose bushes, right? It's always a rose bush. But look at the border.
This is so resonating.
Look at the border of the slide. It will
Okay.
have a red border, very, very obvious and big,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll say Kodachrome on it. Very important. In post-war, again, this is the post-war generation, your parents' generation.
Yes. Yeah.
The Kodak company was using this particular mix of chemicals that kept those images incredibly crisp. They are still near perfect today. And collectors seek those out because they can be enlarged. So the picture of your grandmother holding a parrot,
And copied.
in front of a rose bush, in front of a Greek revival house,
check. Yes.
someone who is studying costume, someone who's studying architecture,
Wow.
someone who is
Definitely.
studying landscaping, you never know. There are clues in all of those pictures that people find valuable. Now, if your father or grandfather was taking pictures when they were overseas, right after World War II or during World
Yes.
War II or during the Vietnam War, I'm talking of aircraft carriers, jets, boats, ocean liners,
Trains,
all kinds
old
of trains.
Trains. There were photos. of
Hugely,
trains. Yeah.
hugely popular. Don't throw out the red border slides.
This is mind-blowing information.
Yeah.
I love this. I love this. Tell us a little bit about Hunt and Peck before we close out the show today and before we go to the secret sauce. But you do so many incredible things. I mean, this is incredible. It's so much information right now I've learned. So tell us a little bit about what you do.
Hunt and Peck is a full-service estate liquidation company that handles everything and anything in your home. If you need to find someone like us or similar to the services that we provide, we suggest that you go on the ASEL, or American Society of Estate Liquidators website.
Yeah, yeah.
What that service
Interesting.
does is it vets companies like us. We have to prove who we are, we have to show contracts, and we have to show that we've been in business and have a website.
Yeah, yeah.
Right now in the state of New Hampshire, there are only 0 companies on the ASEL.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
it will be hard to find
For
someone
example.
like us.
Exactly.
No, but that is a good
Yeah.
example.
It's
In
a good
California, there
example,
may be
yeah.
5,000.
Right.
But you'll find companies like ours that can help you, or at least get you going down the right path.
Exactly. You know, we talked about so much today. We talked about the fact that we should be going through our homes, looking for jewelry, learning about eBay, which is so important. I have to re-up my account or whatever it is. Now I learned how to search there. We talked about silver. What house doesn't have silver? We talked about furniture. We talked about china and crystal. And we talked about art. Amazing information in this episode. One thing we love on the show is our secret sauce.
Oh,
Our
yes,
saucy
yes,
secret.
yes.
And you have one that you're not going to believe. Well, you might believe this. So tell us about your secret sauce.
So, if you go into an estate and you're the one that has to find mom's diamond ring, no one knows where she put it, where did it go? 9 times out of 10, it's going to be in a box on the floor in the corner of the master bedroom closet. That's
Say that again.
Okay.
It's like Colonel Mustard
Yeah,
with a rope
you're right,
in
you're
the
right.
library
Yeah.
in the Clue Game, isn't it?
It is.
All right, go
yeah.
through it again.
Value is usually right in front of you, like over the dining room mantle or the living room mantle. But when people live alone for a long period of time and they're fearful of being robbed or losing their stuff or misplacing something, they keep it close to them. And again, 9 times out of 10, it's on the floor in the corner of the master bedroom closet in a little box. That's where you'll find it.
I'm speechless because it's a bit relatable. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Amy.
Thank you.
Okay, awesome episode. Once we got him out of the green room, let's be
Once
honest.
we got him out
Roger
of the
and
green
Chris were
room.
probably redecorating the
Right.
green room, or maybe they were finding some treasures that they were thinking. But I loved it.
I think this was exactly the kind of show that most people have all these takeaways and they're like, wow, I never thought of that.
Yeah,
I
totally.
would have thrown that out, and it turns out to be something of value. And that's what we try to provide you with, is this advice you can use, practical advice to live your life better.
Yes.
And
So we do it better than gossip.
it is better
We
than
share our
gossip.
secret sauce, and you can find us everywhere. You know, I say we're everywhere, man. I mean, we are. We're on Instagram, better than gossip. Underscore better than gossip underscore. We have a Facebook group that is alive and thriving, and it's just awesome.
We have a lot of fun in there.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun in there. And you can find us on betterthangossip.com, where you can watch the episodes, you can listen to the podcast, and you can learn and have fun right along with us.
I'm Kristen,
I'm Amy,
and together we are better than gossip.
sharing ageless advice for timeless women. We'll see you next time. I'm going to go do some downside.
Wrote that out.